I'm Sven. I'm a solutions engineer at Zscaler, and I've worked with many leading utilities companies in addressing their IT security and connectivity challenges. As a utility company, you are going through many transformations right now. Renewable energies, smart grids, IT and OT convergence, and the need for your IT organization to become more agile. From working with my customers in the sector, I know that you have a lot on your plate right now, and some of these challenges that you are probably thinking about on a day-to-day basis, we will talk about today. So the challenges that we see in almost all of our customers in the sector is that it's really tough to secure legacy infrastructure that maybe was before in completely enclosed networks, but now is interconnected. This ties into the convergence of IT and OT. You have, for example, OT systems that now need to send data to business intelligence platforms in the cloud with hyperscalers such as Azure, AWS or GCP, or maybe connect to other applications that run within your data centers. Protecting critical infrastructure from cyber threats is also a huge factor, either from hacker groups or from nation-state actors, as we've seen in attacks like Stuxnet or Black Energy. Then regulations and disaster recovery are also extremely important. So the first part is that you, of course, have to adhere to governmental regulations that correspond to your sector and also to you providing critical infrastructure for the country, but also building a fault-tolerant infrastructure that is online 24/7. So first of all, if you don't know Zscaler already, we are operating a security cloud, which is called the Zero Trust Exchange, and it's housed in over 160 data centers worldwide. And that cloud acts as a switchboard for your users and applications and IoT or OT devices or locations. So when it comes to securing your legacy infrastructure, the challenge is usually twofold. So usually you have some systems that are running outdated operating systems that now need to maybe send data to something that's running inside the cloud. So for example, with a hyperscaler such as AWS, GCP or Azure, or maybe they need to be accessed from inside the network, but only from trusted devices. So the risk of lateral infection of those devices is probably really high because of the outdated operating systems. They have many vulnerabilities that you cannot fix. So how can we help you protect those systems? So usually in your network, we place something that is called a Zero Trust Edge. And that's a physical or virtual device that's completely managed from the cloud. So usually when you place that in your network, it just reaches out to our cloud, and then it places each of those devices in a network of one. This is also true maybe for application servers and user devices. So what does this achieve? So the first part is that it segments or microsegments your OT, IoT or user or server devices. The next part is that it's really easy to deploy because this acts as a gateway. You don't need to install an agent and it's purely on the network layer. And the last part is also important. Oftentimes you don't know what kind of devices you have in your network. So discovery is a huge part. We tell you what kind of devices are there, we group them in an intelligent fashion, and then you can apply dynamic policies to segment those devices from the rest of the network. Coming to the next challenge, IoT and OT convergence. Now, those devices, as I've said before, need to maybe send data to a business intelligence platform. And because you've already got that Zero Trust Edge in place, this can also act as an outbound gateway for those devices. So you just send the device data here. It's transmitted transparently through secure tunnels to our cloud. And here in our cloud, you have all the security mechanisms and policy that you can think of. So all the protection is happening inline without the devices having to be touched. And then we can securely send that traffic to its destination. This is also the case for protecting user devices or application servers. So on your user devices, we usually install an agent, which is called the Zscaler client connector. And that's available for any major operating system, be it a desktop or a mobile operating system. And that also then just creates outbound connections to our cloud, and then putting the same security mechanisms in place that we also have for your OT infrastructure. So we don't only securely connect your users with the applications that they might want to access, but also transparently filter all of their web traffic. So we are just blocking the bad from coming in and stopping the good stuff, so your precious data from being leaked from your organization. The last part, regulations and disaster recovery, is also really important because you operate critical infrastructure. So regulations can range from having a fault-tolerant infrastructure to also securing your customer data. When it comes to providing fault-tolerant and resilient infrastructure, it's really important to consider blackouts and brownouts. So if you're thinking about using a cloud platform like Zscaler, what we can do to help you with that challenge is to offer a locally hosted version of our cloud that as soon as there's a disaster event takes over, so the transition for your users and for your infrastructure will be seamless. Then the next part that's also important is when it comes to regulations, how do you protect your customer data? So maybe within your customer homes, you are running smart meters. They might need to connect to your infrastructure or to the internet. What we can do at Zscaler is provide you with 5G SIM cards that offer connectivity and security in one package. So as soon as you activate the SIM card, it just reaches out to our cloud, and those customers are protected by the same platform, by the same policy, by the same mechanisms as the rest of your infrastructure. One additional point that we didn't talk about yet is that also third parties need to connect to your resources. So let's say to manage an OT system. And we've said that those systems are vulnerable. So we can also help you with that by just providing access to those resources through something that's called privileged remote access within the web browser. So one of your administrators will just enable access for a third party for a certain amount of time to a certain resource, and they will access the resource through a protected layer. Today we've seen that we can help you with securing your legacy infrastructure with IoT and OT convergence, mitigate cyber threats, and also help you adhere to regulations and provide a fault-tolerant infrastructure. If you're interested in how we are doing that in detail, feel free to reach out to us at any time. We're happy to schedule a meeting and discuss this further. Thank you.